Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I'm so excited to be a moderator for this evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Making Your Money Make More Money. I am Nicole Pacini, and I am the founder and creator of the Nicole Pacini brand, which is an empowerment brand. So my mission is to inspire and empower everyday women to live authentically in their purpose without barriers. And I really want to thank ABEP for having me here tonight. We're going to have a special discussion tonight about creating additional streams of income, something that is very passionate of mine, Bianca and George, who will be on our panel tonight. We're going to talk about some practical strategies that can help you earn more, save more, and build towards your financial independence. I love the sound of that. And we're excited. We're very excited. So Bianca and George, and along with myself, we have successfully turned our ideas into profitable ventures, and we're going to share some of that with you tonight. Whether you're getting started, just getting started, or looking to expand your finances, we'll have a little bit of feedback for you. So we'll get started. Let's introduce our panel. Bianca of Busy Bee, and then George, he wants to identify as a cultural architect. So I'm gonna let them talk a little bit about who they are and what they do. So Bianca, you wanna go first?
Sure. I'm Bianca Holmes. I go by Bianca Jaquel. So what I do is I own Busy Bee Boutique Custom Printing. I help businesses, mainly small businesses, with strategic marketing services, as well as like custom printing of their apparel and promotional products.
Thank you. George?
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is George Shannon, owner and founder of Black Market Events. And right now, this business that I have started is to help small businesses find their space, find their platform, find their audience, and build their brand. I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and I look forward to sharing all the information that I have learned through these 5 years of experience building this business with you all this evening. Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna have a discussion this evening, the three of us. Then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So if you do have any questions or comments that you want us to address, put those in the chat and we'll address those for the end. And then we're also gonna talk about action steps, like some of the things that you can do to get started if you're looking to supplement your income. And then we're gonna just do a brief recap of all the things that we talked about today. I want to start by asking this question. What is it that made you want to become an entrepreneur, or what made you want to create some additional resources or explore additional income resources? So for me, I will tell you my story started with not wanting to work for anybody else. I did not like working for others. I did not like being on the clock per se, and I didn't like being micromanaged. I'm a creative. I have tons of ideas, and I needed to be in a place where I could actually use those ideas to create income for myself. That's kind of how I fell into this. Bianca, what started you into trying to create some additional income resources for yourself?
Well, for me, when I started Busy Bee, it was the pandemic hit. And I was stay-home mom, I was stay-home wife, and had 3 children at home. And we didn't know what was gonna happen when that happened. My husband had a job and still has a job, but he had a job at the time. And I was like, what if you don't have the job anymore? We're gonna have to figure something out. So that's how I ended up deciding to start my stay-at-home business.
Okay. George?
I kind of feel like I'm in the same vein as you, Nicole. I kind of like being independent, working for myself. I feel like I have good ideas and I want to be able to be in a position to bring those ideas to life. And I see voids sometimes, and then I want those voids to be filled, and then I don't see people doing it. So then I find ways to do it. So I find voids and I fill them. And that usually leads to solving problems for myself and somebody else, and usually there's monetary compensation that comes from that. So then turns into a business by accident sometimes. Sometimes I'm just trying to help folks, but then I see there's a need, and then my time is valuable, so then I got to turn it into a opportunity to monetize that skill set that I have.
Okay. Now, did you have any history of entrepreneurship? Did you have anyone in your family that was an entrepreneur? Did you have anyone that you saw really hustle and grind and get things going without working a standard tradition job? Bianca, I want to ask you that first. Like, when you thought of doing this business, did you have anybody in your life, in your family, who were entrepreneurs that you were inspired by?
Not necessarily entrepreneurs, but my family's extremely hard workers. I grew up watching just my mom and my grandma really work hard. And so for me, it was more so I just want to do this for myself. I had so many skills. I didn't want to, I was kind of like you, I didn't want to work for someone else. So I was like, I can do this myself without being micromanaged and having a boss, you know. So I didn't really have family that were entrepreneurs, so to speak.
Okay. What about you, George?
My grandfather, I didn't get to see it, but I've heard about it. Like, he had a hamburger stand in the 50s that he ran for several years. I never got to experience that, but I definitely heard about it. So it's definitely in my DNA. My father was also had side hustles outside of his main job, so I seen it with him. And then I have mentors in my circle that are either small business owners or have big responsibilities in the businesses that they own. And I kind of use that as kind of a gateway for me to enter the business world also.
Okay, I love that. A hot dog. Okay. Learning some
Hamburgers,
history.
hamburgers.
Hamburgers. I've had hot dogs on my mind. I'm sorry. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. I find inspiration being a creative. I'm always inspired by different projects and things like that. What are some of the things that you guys have found to be inspiration in your business? Like, how do you come up with these ideas? I know, George, you said you're a creative, so sometimes you just have ideas. How do you know that an idea can become a business versus just something that's a hobby?
But I don't think you always know. I think you have to put one foot in front of the other and try, experiment, and explore the possibilities of your idea and what your ideas can turn into. Because a lot of my ideas have been, I would think they're small, but then once I execute it and bring it to life, it's actually bigger and it's more impactful to the community than it is just myself. So I kind of like embrace that, like the end goal. Like, my idea right now is I do pop-up markets and events. So there's a lot of legwork that goes into the day of the event. So being able to walk inside of that idea on event day is like the greatest. I feel like I'm addicted to that, like being able to walk in my ideas and see them and live them and experience them and watch other people experience them at the same time.
Okay. So you really don't really know until you actually get into the work, is what you're saying.
I have a feeling,
You have a feeling.
but until we
Okay.
get there, I can kind of predict it, but I can't guarantee anything unless I do the work.
Okay, hold on to that thought because I want to come back to that later. Bianca, what about you?
Yeah, well, for me, the reason why I started the businesses that I have started was the need, knowing that there was a need for those things. Like when I started doing marketing and promotions for events back when I did that in 2008, there were a lot of promoters and people who were older that I was interning under. They didn't know how to use the internet and stuff. So I was like, well, I can be somebody since I know how to navigate the internet. I can almost be a personal assistant for them and help them market their events, promote their events. And so I would say the reason why I started businesses is just finding a need for what it is and then knowing that, oh, I can figure that out or I already know how to do it. And then I would just turn it into a business and start charging people for it.
You and George want to charge people. I love that.
Hey
So
man, our
we
time
are,
is valuable, man. We
it
gotta,
is,
and then our
it
skill
is.
sets are valuable too. So, I want to help as many people as I can, but I gotta be compensated for my time because I got a family and obligations and responsibility also.
Absolutely. And that is another conversation that we can also have is, when you're a business owner or you're starting a business, you don't necessarily always know how to price your items. You don't know how to price your time. And so I think it's important for us to have these conversations so that we can have an understanding. We don't want to undercut ourselves. So we want to have these really candid conversations, no gatekeeping, be really honest. If you're doing something and I'm doing, you're getting paid $1,500, well, you should tell that person so that they can get paid $1,500 too, because someone on the other side will try to undercut them. So when it comes to the money, yes, it's very important. Now, what do you think for the people that are watching, what are some ways that they can identify or be inspired by the things that are in their everyday life, like their hobbies or maybe things that are just sitting around the house to just start a business that way? Because a lot of people want to start a business, but they feel like I don't have the talent, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources. So what are some things that you can give them as suggestions as to just get started with what they have in their own space? George?
It doesn't have to be perfect for you to start. You don't have to have everything figured out for you to start. Stop believing any excuse that you may have that even prevents you from putting yourself in position to be on the starting line to get in the race. Like, show up for the race, run your race, and see what happens.
Did y'all take notes on that? Because that was good. That was good. What about you, Bianca?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I'm a just do it girl. I'm like, just do it. I'm gonna try it out. If I fail, I fail. But at least I gave it a shot. Another business that I had started once or that I was doing, because I just jumped into it as a stay-at-home mom, was reselling. So I would just look around the house and find clothes that I wasn't wearing, clothes that my kids weren't wearing or anything, and I would just find different avenues, either Poshmark or Mercari or anything like that online where you could just sell your clothes on there. And that's what I was doing. I didn't need any startup. All I needed was my phone. I took pictures with my phone and listed it, and that was it. There was no overhead. I'm doing it at home, and it was good. It was good money. I got to where I started going to the Goodwills and going and buying more stuff, using my profit, buying thrifted clothes and then reselling it. So that's just another way.
Yes, I remember that. You took Poshmark to a whole nother level. I think I started doing Poshmark because I saw you doing Poshmark and I saw all the things that I had. It's like, okay, I think I earned close to $5,000 on Poshmark just by selling some of the items that I had that was wearing. And
Yeah.
you have to be, you have to be consistent and you have to take very good photos and lighting. You have to be very descriptive. So there's an avenue in resale, but you still have to be very meticulous and how you list your items, because the people who are buying those items, they really want answers to a whole lot of questions, like how far does the turtleneck go up? Like what's the dimensions of the earring? Can you put them on? Can I see a picture? You have to be very intentional about the language that you use and how your photos look. So thank you for mentioning Poshmark, because that is a revenue stream that most people don't even think about. They just really take their clothes to the Goodwill, and you're not making any money off the Goodwill. They're just going to resell your clothes. Exactly. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That's a good example. All right, so let's talk about some challenges. Challenges. We all know that running a business is not often easy. And I love that George said, you just got to do it. You can't be afraid. You got to just learn through the process. So if you think about some of the challenges in starting a business or a side hustle, what are some of the ways that you can overcome those challenges? So what are some of the challenges? What are some of the ways that you can overcome them? This is for everyone that's on the call. We're speaking to you. If you have interest, this is for you. So let's start with Bianca.
So some of the challenges of starting a business, I would say your time. I didn't have a job at the time, so I had some time. However, I was a stay-at-home mom. So I definitely had to schedule and fit the time in. But if you have a job, I would say just make sure that you know, this is something that you can make the time commitment to do. Because that would be a challenge. If you really can't put the time in that's needed for this, are you really going to be successful at it? And you have to figure out, like, is that my goal? Do I want to make a couple dollars? Do I just want to make, set a money goal? Do you want to make $200 a month? Do you want to make an extra $1,000 a month? If you want to make an extra $5,000 a month, what would that time commitment look like? So I would say set your own personal goals of what you're trying to accomplish, and then you know, set your schedule around that. So that would be my biggest challenge, I would say, is just the time commitment.
Okay. George?
Probably staying up to date with the ever-changing landscape of the business world that we're in, man. It's constantly changing and constantly just learning and relearning the all the rules and obligations and regulations of the things and the industries that you're in. Just making sure you stay a student, you keep on learning, keep advancing, keep growing, and make sure you're aware of how to thrive in your area of service or product development. So just staying aware and always be open to learn, be willing to learn. And the
Okay.
only way to, I think, overcome that challenge is to uh, be okay with not knowing and admitting you don't know something, so you can create space for you to learn it.
I agree. One of the things that I see a lot on social media with people who want to start a business or a side hustle is they're afraid of what their friends and family are going to think. They're afraid that no one's going to support them. They're afraid that it's just not going to be successful. Like they talk themselves out of it before they even get into it. So what do you think are some ways to overcome that when you don't think you're gonna have the support from your friends and family when you're starting a business or a side hustle? Bianca?
Mhm. Um, I would say I would have to go for me, just again, just do it. Like put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of what somebody is gonna think of you. Because I struggle with that. Like I struggle with how I look. I don't want to take too many pictures. I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to take videos. I have a lot of hangups and insecurities. However, you have to think about your why and think about, why am I doing this? I need this money. I need to put my kid through college. I need whatever your why is. You have to think about that, and you just kind of got to get out of your own way. There was times where I just had to get out of my own way. And what I would do is I would go on social media and I would say, hey, this is what I'm starting. Asking for just support, and just ask your family. When I first started my t-shirt business and printing business, I went straight to my family first. And I said, hey, look, can you guys support me, share my stuff, purchase for me so I can get my first pictures and all of that kind of stuff. So I would say go that route, reach out to family, friends so that you can get some practice in. And then once you get kind of comfortable, have them, interview with them or whatever, do your spiel with them, and then get comfortable with it. And then I would say just roll with it. Just, who cares what somebody thinks?
What about you, George? What's your
I
take on
would
that?
say, man, just swallow the fact that your friends and family aren't going to support you to the extent that you want them to or you think they should. Imagine if you open up a restaurant and you only serve your friends and family, how long will y'all be in business? Eventually, you're gonna need some strangers to trickle in there and support your business, man. So strangers are gonna be your best friends. It's like when a music artist puts out a song, you don't get to choose who's your fan. You just got to put it out there, and then the fans that gravitate towards your music and towards your energy are who you need to serve. So you got to put your product out there, and whoever comes to you, that's who you need to serve. And it's probably not going to be your friends and family, because you can only serve them so much of what you got.
Yeah. What are some
And it will
ways to
come.
reach? What are some? Yeah, it will come definitely. What are some ways that you can get outside of that comfort zone of just sticking like with your friends and family? Like, what are some things that you encourage people to do, like specific things?
I would say different social media avenues. You know, you got Twitter, you got TikTok, you got other places. I know that TikTok, I like it because my core network isn't there. So I can kind of make TikTok videos and nobody that's on my Facebook is gonna see it, or nobody on, my Twitter is gonna see it. So you can kind of create your own network of people somewhere else who just totally don't know you, and start there. Is that way you're not even worried about what somebody who's in your hometown is thinking because they don't see you.
Okay, that's good. What about you, George?
I just try to create an amazing business platform where I don't really necessarily want people to know that I own the business. I want them to support the business because it's good business. So I don't necessarily need to be the face, or you don't need to necessarily know me, as long as we're operating in the space we're operating in at the level I feel like we should be operating at. I'm happy with that. I don't need nobody to know me, as long as we're executing at a high level and bringing our ideas to life and people are benefiting from them. So that's the least of my concerns.
I remember when you first started doing the black market, and I think you followed me on Instagram, and it was no face to it. And my
Yep.
first thought was, who is this? And is this even a real thing? And I think I messaged you like, who are you? Like, who's the person behind this? He's like, it's me, George. I'm like, oh. So I get why you say that. I do. I understand that for sure. I don't know. For me, I think I'm just so ready to explore just all different types of things. I don't stick to just one lane of how I get people to support. I shouldn't say get people, but people want to support me for a variety of reasons. But I do like using different ways of communicating with people. I just got back on TikTok, so I think that is another avenue. But I also like being in person and really networking with people, but on a genuine level. Because networking can be a little cringy sometimes when you're out and about. Like, hi, what do you do? It's like, I'm a person here. So I think it's a lot of different ways that we can put ourselves out there as entrepreneurs. And it's also about like our mindset. Sometimes entrepreneurs work twice as hard. We put in twice the time, and we're not even paying ourselves most of the time. So we're actually just putting the money back into our business. So what are some of the mindset shifts that are needed to just transition if you're trying to fully be an entrepreneur? Like, you're ready to quit your 9 to 5, you're ready to just go full-fledged in. Like, what's that mindset shift need to be like in order to do that? Bianca?
Oh, go ahead, Bianca.
Okay. I would just say again, to just know your why, know why you're doing it, and just really get focused. I'm actually doing that now, where I'm just kind of all in. I'm like, okay, put the phone down, get on YouTube. I'm learning as much as I can learn about the subjects that I'm trying to learn about, and just really getting focused, really just like a laser focus on what it is that I want to accomplish. So I would say that is it.
Okay. One of the things that I recognize in your business is your customer service and your professionalism. So can you talk about that a little bit? Like, how important is it to provide excellent customer service, professionalism? And I want to make mention too, there's a lot of conversation around Black people not being professional, Black people not being on time, Black people not doing this, and Black people not doing that. I don't have that experience when it comes to us as frequent as other people say that happens. I've done work with people who are phenomenal when it comes to customer service, phenomenal when it comes to professionalism. And so I don't often get that from us. So talk to us a little bit about what that means to your business, to the customer service and the professionalism that you possess in Busy Bee.
To me, it means everything, because the majority of my business came from word of mouth. When I first started, it really took off pretty quick. So it was like it went from having a couple customers to more customers than I can handle. And that was because I always would deliver quality work. I would always respond to my emails right away. Sometimes you feel like people have too much access to you when you're an entrepreneur because they got your phone number, they got your email, they got your Facebook. And so I'm responding to texts, I'm responding to emails. And so I'm learning how to create boundaries with that. But to me, customer service was like number one. And I like the fact that my customers have that personal experience with me. I think that's why they would choose me over like a bigger printing company, because they can say, hey, Bianca, can you do like 5 t-shirts or something for me? And it's like, yeah, I like that personal touch that I'm able to offer to my customers. So I would say that's why it's important, because word of mouth will take your business probably, it'll take your business up or it'll take your business down.
Yes, I agree. What about you, George? You have any input on that? And go back to the mindset question of like, what is the mindset shift that you need to have in order to just become an entrepreneur, if that's what you're choosing to do, or just a side hustle, like working a 9 to 5 or coming all the way out of the 9 to 5? And then what are some of the things that you value in your business that set you aside apart from maybe other people in the same space that you're in?
Depending on where you are at in development of your business, I wouldn't say quit your job just yet. I would say work while you wait. Find time, extra time in the day to. They say if you 8 hours on your job, you could be rich. But if you work, once you figure out hours to work for yourself, you can become wealthy. So you do that 9 to 5, but remember after from 5 to 9, those other hours get you some sleep, but you got to invest some of your time into your business during those hours. Uh, uh, what else? Like with my business, man, I just want to provide amazing experiences. I want people, like I do pop-up markets and events. I want people to have amazing time and create valuable memories that last a lifetime. And when people look back at coming to one of my events, I want them to remember it highly and think of how I hope organized it was, how much thoughts and ideas went into it, and how it was executed at a high level. And I like to do things that have never been done in places that have typically spaces we haven't been in. So I try to bring us into those spaces. So I take pride in that also, like uh broaden our horizons a little bit in certain spaces and letting people know that we are here in the city. And yes, there are Black people here. And I feel like if you come to one of my events, there's going to definitely be some Black people there. So I hope that's ingrained into our brand too.
It is, it is. You do a great job. I want to ask about the
The
stress that
who?
comes along, the stress,
Stress.
Sure.
the stress that comes along with all the things that we do in order to plan, execute, strategize, all of those things. So when you think about sharing, think about you're talking to someone and they're asking you, like, how do you manage all of this? Like, what are your tips about managing your stress, managing your time? Bianca, you mentioned the time. Just being mindful, taking care of yourself, getting the rest that you need, getting the support that you need. Like, what does that all look like? I think we don't do a good enough job of really sharing what that backstory looks like. We just kind of package everything up and be like, this is it. We don't really get into the nitty gritty of it all. Like I mentioned earlier, it's the late nights. It's a lot of things that come along with making a decision to do a business. And customer service is just icing on the cake. It's just a little bit of a thing. So what are some of the things that you would tell somebody about how do you manage all of this? The stress that comes with it, the agony, the pain, sometimes we don't even believe that we're doing this. Like, what am I doing? This is crazy. Like, what just speak to that just a little bit.
For me, I like to take care of my mental health and my physical health. So I make sure I allocate time in my routine for that, because the work ain't easy, but it's definitely worth it. And I know I need to be healthy mentally and physically for the scope of work that I'm required to do for me to fulfill my purpose. So knowing that doesn't allow me to not invest in those areas. Like I know in order for me to operate at my highest level, my mental and my physical need to be A1 first and foremost.
What are some of the things that you do?
I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I
Okay.
read, I write, I journal, I meditate, I yoga, I go out in nature, I hike. Like I do anything that I need to make sure that I'm at peace with me and able to function at my highest level in all areas of my life, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. And I take those things very seriously because I've seen results from them.
Yeah,
So I always encourage other people to invest in those areas too, and you'll see a trajectory. Your trajectory will change once you invest in your mental health and your physical health. You'll start to be around different people. Your circle to change, your energy to change, your whole situation is gonna like you don't just like when you work out, you don't just lose weight physically. You also shed a lot of mental baggage and false beliefs about yourself and ideas and other people's programming into you and who you can be and what you become. You kind of lose all that. So I'll say mental health and physical health are two things that help me avoid or deal and manage stress.
absolutely. Bianca, what do you think? What's your take?
I wholeheartedly agree. That's the same thing that I do is if for people who have followed me on social media, I am a walker. I love going to the lake. I like to walk around the lake. That's how I kind of manage stress. Just take time for myself, listen to nature. I also am in therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. So I definitely do therapy once a week, and she is great. She helps me manage my time. And if I say, oh, I'm stressed out about this because the kids and I'm trying to get my work done and all of that, then she'll help me, figure out schedules and ways to manage that. So I would definitely say if you don't have a therapist, look one up. There are some Black good ones out there. And then also, let me see, how do I manage stress? I try to remind myself and use the tools that I learn in therapy to just kind of stay grounded a little bit, like it's not a race. To remember that I don't have to compare myself to everybody else. Social media is pretty hard on you. You'll see everybody else doing this and that and this and that, and you're feeling like, man, I'm not there, and I want to hurry up and get there. And it's like, just pump your brakes, understand that we all have our journeys, and just I would say just relax, don't stress yourself out, because I did that. I stressed myself out and went to therapy. So
Yeah, I love journaling as well, George. That is my thing. Everybody knows I'm a pull out a journal. I've been doing a lot of coloring books lately. So just sitting down before bedtime, shutting my phone off, just playing some music and just coloring. I take my notifications off my phone. So throughout the day, I'm not getting bombarded with all the emails and all the phone calls and things like that. I'll just turn my notifications off. They stay off, by the way. And then I respond to them as I see fit. I don't stress about things. There's never an emergency going on that I need to just be talking to people on the internet all the time, or on the Facebook, so I turn all those notifications off. And getting proper sleep, that is key to me. Like I go to bed 8, 9 o'clock. Most people are still awake, but I go to bed very early and I wake up pretty early too. So I get about 8 to 10 hours of sleep at night, and that just gives my body enough time to rest and recover. So I wanted to share that. But we do have a section coming up for Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, did anybody put anything in the chat? Because we can start that part right now. Thank you guys for those answers and those responses. I hope you guys have questions for the panel.
Yes, we did have a question, Nicole, regarding the devil being in the details. And so you have a business, but who's handling the accounting, the inventory, the forecasting or planning for seasonal changes? How do you prepare for that, particularly in Minnesota?
that's what I was actually gonna add to that I forgot to say, is that you also don't want to try and do everything yourself, because that is what I did. And when you're a small business, it's really hard for you to pay other people to do things. So you try and do everything by yourself. But I would say if you can, once you start making some money, delegate some of those responsibilities, get you a CPA, get you someone who can handle your taxes, get you someone like a Fiverr or somewhere. I use Fiverr all the time. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but you can, instead of hiring somebody to do your graphic design that's $50, $100 a whop, you can pay somebody $5, $10 to do it, or take a Canva course. So there's different ways that I would say you can kind of delegate a lot of that stuff so that everything isn't on you.
I said, I'm still wearing 82 hats over here.
Yeah.
Constantly looking for help. But at the end of the day, dealing with the issues and challenges that have come up during my whole entire life as a serial entrepreneur, I have developed several skills that have become valuable. So I don't want to wear all the hats. I know I can wear all the hats. Constantly looking for help, but if the help don't come in the time that I need it, then I'm gonna just knock it out. It is what
So
it is.
I think you and Bianca and I are the same way when it comes to that. We will figure it out. We'll do it ourselves.
I'm gonna figure it out, man.
We're gonna figure it out.
For sure.
So what I
Google,
started
YouTube.
doing, everything, we will do everything. We will figure it out. One of the things that I started doing was I have an assistant, and myself is my assistant. So my middle name is Nichelle. So my assistant is Nichelle. So what I do is separate myself from my assistant. So Nicole is the creator of all the things. I'm the mastermind behind all the things. Nichelle is my assistant. So Nichelle sends out the emails. Nichelle may do some research for me, even though it's me. But I have to I have to separate the two because the work that Nicole does is different from the work that Nichelle does. So Nichelle she can sit and she can respond to emails, and Nicole is removed from that. Nicole is outside somewhere, walking the lake, doing something fun. And Nichelle is the one that's really doing the work. So I think it's fun to like create a persona for yourself. Like George, I also wear all the hats. I do all the things. I don't have anybody to support me in ways that I wish I had the support in, but I'm very eager to be in that position where I can hire a real assistant, a real assistant to help with some of that back end stuff. But we gonna make it. Me and Michelle, we gonna make it.
So,
Are there
Nicole, we
any
have
other
another.
questions in the chat? Okay.
Yes, you do. Can you talk about pricing? How did you learn to properly price your products and services? This is coming from Tina Hill.
Oh, that is a great question. Bianca, I think you can answer that with your business.
Sure. I mean, how I price it is a few different ways. I have to definitely factor in my cost. I always add up my cost of what it cost me to buy my supplies, and my t-shirts and things like that, the print supplies. And then I also factor in how long it may take me to do something. You have to pay yourself, so you might want to factor that in. And then I also kind of do some research and find out what other people are charging with that, and just compare in a way, because you don't want to be lowballing yourself because you'll never make a profit. But then you also don't want to be ridiculously high either, because, you might not get any business. However, you do want to charge what you feel like is your worth. I don't think there's really a set price that anybody can have, depending on the service that you provide. Like if you're doing something custom opposed to like selling just a keychain, there may be kind of like a set price for certain things, but it just depends on what you're doing. I would say definitely do some research, find out what other people are charging, and just think about what you feel like your worth is, and add tax a little bit.
Show me the money. George.
If it's a product you got to factor in the cost of the product, making the product or producing the product. So that's how I come up with pricing with products. With service, I just feel like I know what my time is worth. And then once I get the scope of work of what's being asked of me, I can kind of estimate the amount of time it's going to take me to complete the task. And then I have an hourly rate that I have. So there's no negotiating with that.
That's good. I have the steps similar to what Bianca was saying. So my business is set up. I have products. Also have services as well. And one of the things that I did was I reached out to people who did things that were similar to what I was doing. And I asked them, you know, this is the scope of the work that I'll be doing. What would you charge for something like this? And so the number that they would give me would be almost double or triple than what I would have initially used as a service fee. And so I just really understood the value of, you know, what I bring to the table, my time, my intellectual property. And I feel like that's invaluable. My intellectual property is invaluable. And that is, like Bianca said, you can tax with that. But that's just really saying just to know your worth, like Bianca said. Know your worth. You can't compare yourself to what other people are doing, but you can get a good understanding of what the ballpark figure is, and then round it up. Round it up.
And that's real, man, because I had to trademark one of my products and I went to an attorney to have them do it for me. And then I asked them, do you think I could do this on my own? And they gave me a price of like $2,500 for 4 hours. And then I went and did it in like an hour and a half on my own. So I was like, if they're charging me $2,500 and I just did it on my own, I'm at least worth $1,500. You know what I'm saying? If I can do this and they were going to charge me this by the price for this service, I went and did it on my own. Now it's a skill that I have and I can help other people do it. I can charge now at least $500 or some type of consulting fee because I know that threshold price that the attorney was going to get me.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, because there are a lot of people who are afraid to put a price on what their experience is. And so you just nailed it right there. If you've done the work, you basically created the blueprint for it. So why not have that as a service? Because you just did all the steps. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Richest man in Babylon. What is that, George?
Well, somebody asked for book recommendations, so I just put that in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions in the chat?
I see that for me, for my recommendations, I would recommend Myron Golden. I listen to him constantly because also he's faith-based. So for anybody who is into the Bible and likes to go by scripture, he is very great to listen to. He's a Black man, he's a multi-millionaire, and especially if you're thinking about doing any service type of businesses, he is really good for that. He will let you know how you should understand your worth, how to price things. So definitely he's on YouTube, and yeah, I think he's mainly on YouTube. So Myron Golden.
Yeah. I follow Pinky Cole on social media. She is the owner of Slutty Vegan restaurant. She started just as like in a ghost kitchen in Atlanta. She had a concept. Her marketing is out of control. It's the whole business concept. And Pinky Cole has been able to not only expand and scale her business to millions and millions of dollars, but she also is a philanthropist and she helps other businesses along the way. I love that about her. I want to be able to do that with my business as well. So shout out to Pinky Cole. She's in Atlanta. She's amazing. And then I also follow, can't think of, Kiana Watson. So Kiana Watson is a realtor. And she was on a show, I can't think of the name of the show, something in Miami where they highlighted all these different realtors. And she has her own investment. She's just killing it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul. And I just love following successful Black women. It just inspires me and encourages me to keep moving and keep going. And I see their growth. I see where they came from. I follow Pinky Cole from her very beginning. And so to see her open up brick and mortar, city after city after city after city, and still reaching back and bringing people along with her inspires me to no end, to no end.
And locally, I would say Houston White. He's been doing some dope stuff too, man.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people here in Minneapolis that are just
There's a lot of dope people here too, man.
dope
Like
things.
they
Exactly.
behind the scenes too. Like you'll never know some of these people are doing amazing things internationally.
Kind of
So
like
we
you,
have a
George.
we have a number of questions in the chat. Isaac Alexander asks, so how do we not limit our market by being Black and having a business and feeling the need to just cater to the community?
Dollars
Speak.
are green, man. Like you can't, if you have a business or a product or service, man, if somebody calls your business and they want to do business with you, man, if they Black, white, Asian, Latino, short, tall, don't matter. You got to give them the service that they're asking for. If you got the ability to serve them, you got to do it. I know I want to help as many Black people as I can, but I want my product or my experiences or my events to have diversity too. Diversity in thought, diversity in who shows up, diversity in the dollars circulating amongst the businesses that I'm helping support. Like I want to bring people together. So I am a Black-owned business, but I do business with a lot of people.
Yeah, and you can definitely cater to your community, you know what I mean? But you don't, that's just not where it has to stop. I mean, the good thing about being able to cater to everyone is that you just kind of, you know, I haven't really had a problem with that because, like I would say, the word of mouth, you know, the customer service, always just providing good customer service. The customers aren't going to turn you down because you're just a Black or you're a Black business or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there used to be hangups about that. Like, should I tell someone that I'm a Black business, or being nervous about saying that I'm a Black business because I might not get dollars from someone else or whatever. I wouldn't worry about that. The business that is meant for you is going to come, and I would just be the best business and provide the best service you can provide.
Good, that's good. Thank you. All right, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Is there anything else in the chat that we can address? You see anything, Deborah?
You know what, there's nothing coming right now, but one of the
Can
things
I ask a question?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, George.
I just like the people in the room. Are there any businesses already established in the room that we should know about, man? Like, put your stuff in the chat if that's okay.
That is okay.
And the chat, I think will be open for a little bit after the call is over. So we'll still have some of that information listed for you all. So as we wrap up this evening, there's, a lot that we talked about in this short amount of time. So if you could give just like one piece of advice, one action step that the participants can leave with tonight, what would that be? Just an action step, piece of feedback, piece of advice that could get them going on their journey if they're looking to do some entrepreneurship or side hustle. What do you got to say?
Mine would be just have faith, see it back there. My whole motto is faith can move mountains, just have faith that it's going to work out. Believe in yourself, really work on your confidence. That's my biggest thing is just not worried about what other people might think, not having a negative mind and thinking it's going to fail. And if it does fail, that's okay. Like you can do something else, or you can try harder.
You're gonna fail. Failure is part of the process, man. Just accepting that you're gonna fail, man, and it's okay.
And
You can learn from that failure, and you can build on top of that, and just keep plugging forward, man. But you're gonna fail, man. You're gonna trip up here and there, but you got an opportunity to get up, back up every time you fail. You're not a failure. You failed. Learn from it. Keep it moving.
Wow.
They say failure is an opportunity to try again.
This was really great. One of the things I wrote down, it was get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. That stood out to me. Think about your why. Bianca said that. Think about your why. Sometimes we do things and it doesn't even, we're not even really passionate about it. We're just doing it to be doing it. But really invest your time into knowing why you're doing what you're doing. Not because somebody else is doing it, not because you saw somebody else made a profit or two, but really what's in your heart? What do you dream about? What do you think about? What do you believe? And use that as like a navigation tool to determine where you want to be or where you want to go in a business or just, your side hustle. What does that look like? I know we talked earlier when we were chatting before this call about, having a side hustle and really not knowing what to do with it. And so you're just kind of like all over the place and you really don't have a direction. And I feel like that's okay. I feel like some of the things that George was saying is like, you just kind of got to get yourself in there and just do it. There's no right or wrong. There's no blueprint or playbook to any of this. You just kind of got to get in it and figure it out. Another thing I wrote down is it doesn't have to be perfect to start. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. Who said that? Was it George or Bianca? One of y'all said that. I wrote it down.
George said that.
George, it was George. Okay. So
What did
it
I
doesn't
say?
have to be. It doesn't. You said a lot of things, George. You said it doesn't have to be perfect. You said it doesn't have to be perfect to start.
Definitely not.
Yes. So I think that is a great way to close out tonight. Thank you all so much for being here today and this evening and sharing this moment with us. That's all we got. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aquila Robinson, and I am ABEP's Financial Empowerment Center's Program and Outreach Manager. I'd like to thank our moderator, panelists, and for all of you for joining in on the conversation today. I hope you took notes so you can share this beyond Table Talk. ABEP would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our sponsors for their generous support in making this event possible. For further resources, please visit our website. While there, you can also register for our next program, which happens monthly. While I still have you here with me, please take this opportunity to connect and network. If you're attending virtually, the chat will remain open for another 20 minutes. If you would like to support our efforts, please consider making a donation to help us continue to bring you impactful programs like this one. I hope to see you again real soon.
I've worked with over 350 businesses, and the wisdom I heard today, I wish I knew what you knew when I was your age. So I have to compliment you on that. Well thought out. I've heard many, many presentations. This is one of the best.